And good afternoon. Welcome to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Matt Delvecchio, specializing in home care, downsizing in the senior living industry. So glad to be back in the saddle after a summer hiatus. Thank you very much for listening into Life Unrehearsed. We have a great show lined up for you today. Coming up on the first half of educating children and young adults with special needs. Summit School is a leading educational institution that really gets it. I'll be talking to a representative from Summit, as well as a father whose daughter attended Summit School, and we're going to get his perspective and what he's doing to give back to this amazing school. And on the second half of the show, you don't want to miss my interview with Kevin Harvey. He was paralyzed at the age of 19 years old in an unfortunate accident. Well, more than 40 years later, he's living an inspiring life, including being a singer in a blues band that had a Juno nomination. And we're going to hear from Kevin after the 4:30 news. All right. As many of us can attest, being a student can sometimes be challenging. So could you imagine being a student when you have special needs? Certainly not easy. And I saw firsthand some of those challenges as my daughter was one of those special needs students. She's now 25 years old and adapting to the post-education world. She was fortunate enough to attend Summit School for many years. And here to tell us more about the school and some of their amazing students is Jesse Heffring. He's the Summit School's Director of Development. Jesse, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Thank you very much, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming into studio here. So, Jesse, what are some of the challenges of students with special needs in a regular school setting?
I think there can be a lot of challenges. Sometimes the regular school system feels like a one-size-fits-all approach to education. And these young, men and women, they need... they can be easily distracted. So the lockers, the sounds, the bustling hallways, all of that can easily overwhelm some individuals with neurodivergent individuals. Also, the style of teaching, that can also be a problem, like slowing it down and often more visual cues than anything else. But yeah, it can just be a lot of pitfalls there. And also adapting to the social norms, the social setting, that can also be very difficult for a lot of these young men and women. Yes. And it can make it very challenging.
Certainly on that social aspect is right. And
yeah.
Being accepted. And this is what I love about Summit School, Jesse. And so what would differentiate Summit School from regular schools?
Summit has a very unique approach. First of all, we have a very low student-to-teacher ratio. So it's about a 6-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. And that helps sort of our ability to individualize the education and really make sure that each student is getting what they need. We also look at it not just in terms of education, but development. So on staff in the school, we have occupational therapists, physiotherapists, speech therapists, psychologists, and all of those people together form this sort of interdisciplinary team that can look at what this student needs and plan for all of those different ways forward and sort of help that student develop over their time at Summit. And I think what happens with parents often is that, when they hear that their child has been diagnosed and they're different, and that security of that sort of regular pathway sort of disappears, they don't know what to do. And Summit says, well, look, this is what you can do. It's a way forward where we develop the students with a focus on what they're going to do after, on adapting to society, job integration, all of these things. We pay a lot of attention to that, into that sort of holistic development of the student.
As a parent of a daughter with special needs, those are a lot of things you're concerned about as a parent, the what ifs and so on.
Absolutely.
I really like what you're saying about Summit and why it is so special. You're listening to Life Unrehearsed. And we're talking with Jesse Heffring. He's the Summit School's Director of Development. And can you describe, Jesse, some of the special needs of the students at Summit?
Yeah, so our population we call it neurodivergent. So there's a lot of different diagnoses, a lot of different students at Summit. We have over 50%. We have almost 700 students in total, and over 50% are somewhere on the autism spectrum. But there's a wide variety of other diagnoses there. There's Down syndrome, just generalized intellectual delays, those types of things. And that's one of the things that makes Summit very unique, is that we don't just specialize on one particular diagnosis. All of these students come together and it creates this really dynamic school environment and a dynamic social environment. A lot of our students, at Summit is the first time that they found a friend. the first time they were invited to a birthday party, because they're around other people that are like them and have common interests and sort of see the world in a similar way. And it's profound. It's one of the things that we love most, like I love most about going into the school, is just that energy, that unfiltered energy. Again, it's a dynamic environment. It's a wonderful place to be, and it's a wonderful place to be a student. A lot of our students, they really enjoy their time with us and all the opportunities that the school gives them. So the diagnosis is not necessarily something that we focus on as much as just sort of creating classrooms with students that kind of fit together and can kind of complement each other. So maybe there's a student that's quieter or has a harder time processing social situations, but then you'll put them in a class with a student who's very friendly and open, so that hopefully together they sort of bring different sides of life out.
I've walked the hallways of Summit many, many times, and I think what you're saying about, air quotes, normalizing their lives and making them feel normal. And really, at the end of the day, many of them, that's what they want to do. And now they're in an environment where they can be comfortable and it's okay to have special needs. And,
absolutely.
So in terms of ages for Summit School, what is the age range?
Well, it's wide. So we take students as young as 5 years old, and we have them all the way up till they're 21 in many cases. But students that are coming into the school can come in at any time. So often what happens is that, there'll be a family that wants their student to kind of go to the regular stream school, and something happens and it doesn't work out. And then they look at Summit as an alternative. So we have students that are kind of coming into our school as new students at many different ages. In fact, our tech program downtown, 16 plus, it's our vocational training program. We have students coming from other high schools into that program. And, we'd like to encourage more of that at that campus. It's a wonderful, dynamic program.
Talking with Jesse Heffring. He's Summit School's Director of Development. I'm glad you got a shout out for tech vocational. That is just wonderful. Just trying to work on that next stage of life transitions.
Absolutely.
And so I get asked a lot of people about the admissions process to Summit, because I understand, there's probably many more students that could benefit, but you obviously have limitations as well. It's those high staff to student ratios that are key. So what is the admission process at Summit?
Well, parents can apply at any time. Like I said, at any time, where you feel that you need to, you go through our website. There's an admissions portal. The stage one is to go through that, follow those instructions. What's going to happen is that you will be contacted by the school. And if your student, your child seems like they could be a right fit, we do tours of the school for new parents. So we have tours happening constantly throughout the school year of groups of parents walking around, checking out what's happening. The school is very open that way, very transparent. So once that happens, we do have a waiting list, but often students aren't necessarily on that waiting list based on when they applied. It's more based on whether we feel the educational pathways that we have will fit with that particular student. And when trying to find those perfect matches is what we do. On that note, we are we're building a new addition to our school. It's going to a creative arts center and a gymnasium, but it is going to open up about 30 to 40 new spots at our school. Nice. So that expansion hopefully will allow more families to get their students in.
Well, that brings me to the funding aspect of Summit. It must be crucial and obviously always needing the funds. So how is Summit School funded?
That's a great question. Summit School is funded, most of Summit School's funds are coming from the ministry. And that covers sort of the basic curriculum. And that's fantastic and wonderful. But the thing is, at Summit School, in order to sort of achieve that development and allow these students to get all sorts of experiences and have different programs that might open up different sides of the student, we have to fundraise. So we have to fundraise for all of those sort of extra programs that are critical, we feel are critical to our students' development, but that aren't necessarily covered under what the ministry can give us. So fundraising is a huge part of what we have to do to make Summit what it is.
You've got a wonderful donor base, but fundraising is crucial. In fact, we're going to address some of these fundraising challenges on just after traffic. So, Jesse, will you stick around for us during this next segment? We appreciate that and get your input.
I'd love to, Matt. Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us in studio here. And we're going to head out to the CJD Traffic Center in a second. But coming up after traffic, we're going to be talking to a father whose daughter went to Summit School and what he's doing to give back. And welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Matt Delvecchio, and I'm talking about educating students with special needs. We just heard from Jesse Heffring. Jesse's the Summit School's Director of Development. And now I'd like to bring in Rob Collette, whose daughter attended Summit School, and he's the chair of their annual golf tournament, which is a huge fundraiser for them. Rob, thanks for coming in.
Hey, Matt, nice to see you again. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for doing this, coming into studio here. First of all, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your daughter, Maria, and her experience at Summit.
Maria joined Summit in the senior campus. So that starts at age grade 7, I believe. Exactly. Grade 7. 13, 14. It's like regular high school. And she graduated grade 11, correct? So she had a big prom. It was very nice, like the rest of the kids. And from there, she went on to the tech program. So she was with Summit for about 6 or 7 years, I believe.
Yeah, great. And that so-called high school environment,
right.
And they make them really feel part of this high school environment. And Jesse was talking about this tech vocational school.
Right.
I think she was doing cooking and a whole bunch of copies. And that vocational school really is something special. I happen to know Maria, and you are blessed parents because she is just a sweetheart, Rob, and you could tell the benefit of a Summit School, how she's grown, just watching her mature.
Well, just touching on what Jesse said, in the regular school, she didn't fit. It wasn't a good fit for her. So she wasn't excelling academically or socially. So once my wife and I sat down and we decided to put her in Summit School, she changed. She opened up. She made friends. As Jesse said, she went to birthday parties. She was one in the crowd. So having done that was a really good move. And she met good friends like your daughter, Lisa. Maria was an introvert, still is. Lisa is an extrovert. So the two of them together, they made a good pair.
They really did. And game changers for both our daughters.
For sure.
Really special.
For sure.
I want to talk about this. And Rob, I know you and you are an amazing human being because you do want to give back. It's in your DNA. And one of the things that you thought you could do is to take their golf tournament, I guess, from its infancy, and now take it to a level that I'm amazed at some of the numbers. So you're the chair of their annual Summit Golf Tournament, and I want to get a shout out for it because it's well deserved. When is it happening this year?
Well, thank you for mentioning that. It's going to take place September 27th. It's a Wednesday coming up at Shotguns at 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock. And where is it being held?
Well, it's being held at Royal Montreal Golf Club, home of the 2024 President's Cup.
Yeah, that is really special to get a round in at Royal Montreal a year from now. All the big boys from around the world will be on Royal Montreal's grounds.
It's going to be exciting.
Fighting out the President's Cup. So that's excellent that you were able to land Royal Montreal for this tournament. Can you give some of the highlights of the tournament?
Well, there's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of food, a few beverages. So what we do different than other tournaments is we, at the Summit Golf Tournament, we bring the children from the school into the tournament so that the participants, the golfers, can see the kids. And smart. We start off the day, we have breakfast together. After that, we have the Game On Clinic, which is a session where the kids, for a day, they're golfers. So the pros come out and they teach them how to golf. They're swinging clubs, they're putting, and they're having a great time. And for the people, the participants, the golfers that are watching this, they have a great time.
and powerful.
It
see
is.
these kids
Really is.
having
Truly
a
is.
blast, and that is very smart way of doing that. And talking with Rob Collette here as we're mentioning Summit School, and his daughter went to Summit School. We had Jesse Heffring on the here in studio with us as well, and Rob is putting on their annual golf tournament, chairing it. Whole team of volunteers. It's a machine, isn't it, Rob? And do you have any idea what this tournament's going to raise this year, ballpark for us? Without holding you to it?
Well, it's hard to say because the money flows in even after the golf tournament.
Yeah.
But we are looking to hit six figures, over $100,000.
Yeah.
And as Jesse was saying, fundraising is such a crucial component for Summit School. Jesse, I want to bring you back in, Jesse Heffring, Director of Development at Summit School, because one of the powerful things about this tournament is there's a lot of corporate sponsorship. One of the challenges with special needs young adults is once Summit is finished, now you need to integrate into society.
Yeah.
And we need more acceptance from the corporate world out there. And now, like you said, Rob, they're seeing it firsthand. Jesse, can you just talk a little bit about that? Because you've got some great programs, vocational schools and so on, marketplace. Why is it so important that we need more corporate buy-in?
Yeah, I think... First of all, pairing the golf tournament with our jobs program is something we've done over the last 3 years, and it's worked really well. We have so many business leaders out there on the course who have a chance to see our students and see what they can do. And the other thing we do during the tournament is we feature some of the job skills that the students have. We feature some of the marketplace businesses, the things that they sell and make and create, just to show them these products are right up there with anything else that you're going to get out there. And these kids' work ethic and what they can bring to your company is fantastic. The trouble is, on the one hand, you're trying to provide the training for the students. Again, through our in-house businesses, we have 7 of them. We have one business that's an external business at Maimonides. It's a cafe. There's no stone that we leave unturned to try to figure out how to get these students ready for the workplace. Now the issue, as you're saying, is finding those workplaces and finding that acceptance and those people that are willing to just take a minute, learn, see that with some adaptations, their work environment can be a perfect place for our students. But it's not just, them giving to our students. Our students will give back. They're wonderful employees. They uplift and enrich the work environment of whatever business that they go and work at. And it's a win-win all around. So the tournament is one of these tools that we use to kind of really push that message out there.
And let's get those employers getting more buy-in and more acceptance. I think we are seeing it now, post-pandemic, for sure. I know, Rob, your daughter is working right now, as is my daughter. And let's get a shout out to these employers that are helping not just our kids, but many special needs kids. Your daughter's where? Rob?
At Restaurant Cugini's in Beaconsfield.
Best pizza in town.
Best
That's
pizza
so
in
good
town.
for Germano. I know he's a very humble guy. He doesn't even want us mentioning, I'm sure, his name, but he deserves a shout out.
He does.
My daughter's at Helix Global Solutions, another amazing company that helps hire students, young adults with special needs. So hats off to them, and hats off to the many employers. I had Dr. Sazini Nzula a few months ago on the show talking about how some amazing employers are really stepping up. So congratulations.
Fantastic.
Keep that going. Rob, real quick, I want to finish it up with the golf tournament here. It does take a village to raise a student with special needs. It takes a village to put on a golf tournament of this magnitude. Any one you want to mention, any people, or just give an idea of the amount of people involved in it?
Well, there are way too many people to mention right now, but a major part of this is the gentleman to my right, Jesse. He really is the glue that puts us all together. So
thanks, Rob.
Shout out to you.
Thank you. And some of our wonderful sponsors, I really appreciate that, Rob, but also Insight Lenovo over the last 3 or 4 years have really been there for us, and coming in as a title sponsor. And right back at you, Rob. I mean, without Rob, we could not do this. He brings not only this incredible positive energy, but it's that this tournament is a heck of a lot of fun. And it's because of him and his crew that's out there. It's a blast.
Well, I see Rob working it, and it's not just a 1 month thing. It's a year-round labor of love, Rob. So hats off to you and raising some really nice dollars, well-deserved dollars for Summit School. Jesse Heffring, Director of Development at Summit School. Rob Collette, father of a daughter that went through Summit School, and the chair of the Summit Golf Tournament. Thank you both very much for coming into studio. Rob, we'll finish it off with you. If people want to, you're still taking spots for the tournament.
Still taking
so
spots.
How can you register?
If you go to the website, actually, www.summit-school.com, right on the front page, there's a link, wonderful video of Rob, and a link to the page that has how you can sponsor and how you can register.
So summit-school.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Summit-school.com.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Jesse Heffring, Director of Development at Summit School, and Rob Collette, father and the chair of the Summit School Golf Tournament. Next up on Life Unrehearsed, he severed his spinal cord in an accident at the age of 19 years old. Well, that didn't stop him from living a fulfilling life.